Welcome back. In this video, we're going to take our first look at how to use variables in Java. Now, variables is a big topic. We'll just do a little bit in this video. You'll notice I've added a button here called button num, and I've added a text field called text num that we can use for this one. I'm just going to keep building this frame with examples over the next couple videos. So, let's do this. Let's go to the code window here for this class and find this spot right here near the top. First of all, I'm just going to take all that junk out and that junk out. Those were just comments, by the way. Anything you see in gray, it's just the developer's note comment. Okay, so you don't need it there. In this section right here, underneath the area where it says, hey, this thing is called the hello frame. This is an area where we can do something called making variables, and we're going to make variables that can be used everywhere in our program. Okay, easier just to show you. Computer programs like to remember information, and something they like to remember is numbers. One type of number you might remember from math is called an integer. Integers are nice numbers like 5, 88, -10. They are not numbers like 1.23, that's a decimal. They are not numbers like 0.11111. Okay, we're talking about nice whole numbers, no decimals. Well, to store a variable in the memory of the computer for this program, in Java what you do is you say something like this. You say, I want to make a variable that's going to store an integer. And you don't actually spell the whole word out. In Java you just say int. I'm going to call this variable num. Now I get to choose the name. Don't put spaces in the name, so don't say something like cool number. Okay, that doesn't work. You see the red lines there. Okay, there's a space. But you can basically use something sensible that represents what you're going to store. If you're going to store the number of hot dogs that you're going to sell, make the variable called hot dog num. I'm just storing a number, so I'm going to call it num. The same time you make this variable, I can even set it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it equal to 1. And then I end the line with a semicolon. What this has now done is this has gone into the memory of the computer once the program runs, and it's going to set aside a little spot in memory, storing the number 1, and that spot in memory is basically called num. And everywhere in my program now, I can actually start using this word, num, and it represents that little spot in memory, and we'll pull out the number 1. Let's give it a go and test it out with the button. So let's go back to design view. Let's click the num button, double click, and I don't know why it doesn't take us right there, but here's the code for when button num is pressed. I type some code in here, and what I want to do is I want to type the code that'll show the number in the box. So here we go. Text num, that's what I named my text box that I created. Please access your set text method, okay, a pre-written chunk of code, and let's write the num is, and that's what I write. Now, this is just how you tag on a variable onto some text you want to type. So before you saw how you just typed please work. Now I'm writing the num is, I end the quotation, I put a plus sign, also write, add on the num variable. It's going to jump into the memory of the computer, look there, and what's it going to find? It's going to find the value 1, and so it's going to write a 1 out. Okay, well, let's give this a quick test, even though you know what it does. A little play here. And say hello still works, and I hit num button, and the num is 1. Genius, right? Let me show you another way you can put the number in the box. Sometimes you don't want to put any text with the number, so you could also do this. Basically, this is saying no text, okay? Quote, quote, okay? That's called an empty string plus num. Now, I don't want both lines to run. That's how I can comment out. This line will no longer run. That's just a little developer coder comment now in the program. So now this is the line that's going to be running. So just to show you it still works, now it just prints the 1 alone, which is often what you want to do. Now, one third way you can show the value inside the box is a lot of people say, well, I don't want to wait for for the program to actually hit the button to show the 1. I want the 1 in there right from the start of the program. Here's how you do that. You basically take this same line of code. I'm just going to do a copy so I don't have to type it out again. And what you want to do is you want to go up here. This chunk of code, this chunk of code is called hello frame. This is actually a chunk of code that is special. It starts right when the frame pops open. Okay? So I can actually go in here, and after init components is done, which actually puts the button and the text boxes onto the window, you can add any extra code you want in there. So I can write that same line of code. Hey, text num, set the text and show num. Whoops, that just jumped weird. It made it all big. There we go, right there. And so you'll see there, it'll do whatever it has to do to add the buttons. Oh, I don't like the way it's always popping that up. So it'll do whatever it has to do, and then it pops the num into the box. Give it a little go, and we should see our number 1 there right from the start. And there it is. Perfect, right? It's just showing up. So we didn't get much done there, but you do know now that you can store numbers and you know how to show them into text boxes. So what I'm going to do in the next video is we're going to start looking at how can we fiddle with these variables and change their values, do a little math, etc., etc. Thanks for watching.